Bir bandımız var.
Tamam, izleyelim.
Biz
Bu
geçen
konuda
hafta,
söyleyeceğim bir şey var, unutturmayın.
geçen hafta İngiliz yazar David Icke'ın açıklamalarına yer vermiştik. Bu hafta da David'den yine çok ilginç açıklamalar var. Hep birlikte izliyoruz sevgili seyirciler.
Now, the Fabian Society was actually named after a Roman general called Fabius, and his claim to fame was never having battles with the enemy that could prove decisive either way. His method of taking over was to weaken and weaken and weaken the enemy over a period of time, and then when they were so weak to resist, then move in. That is precisely what the system is doing. It's making us weaker and weaker, well, people that go with it at the moment, weaker and weaker by the food we eat, the water we drink, by the electromagnetic fields that we come into, by economic suppression and manipulation. All these things are being done to weaken and weaken and weaken the target population, Fabius style, so eventually they think they can just walk in when we're too weak to resist. That's the bloody idea. Physical control. I'll get through this pretty quick. Physical control, okay, major aspect of physical control, take over the countries. This is not a map, it's a wish list. It's a wish list of countries in North Africa, the Middle East and the Near East, which they are picking off one after the other. Libya, now they're into Syria, they're starting trouble in Lebanon, they're in Iraq, they're in Afghanistan, of course they want Iran. And what they're doing is they're finding different excuses to pick off different countries, because they have to find different excuses, or people might think that there's a pattern here. You know, this neocon organization, the Project for the New American Century, it was behind the Bush administration, and in September 2000, before the Bush administration came in, it produced a document which called for the incoming Bush administration and America to fight, quote, multiple theaters of war in places like Libya and Syria and all these countries. But it said in the document in September 2000, but this process of transformation, this takeover of country after country, was likely to be a long one, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event like a new Pearl Harbor. 1 year to the month after that document was published, 9 months after the same people came to power in the Bush administration, the United States had what Bush called our Pearl Harbor, and as a result, they justified the targeting of all the countries that were in that document. This is a man called General Wesley Clark, and he said this in a television interview. This is not God's gift to peace either. He led the NATO attacks in the former Yugoslavia, but he said in a television interview in 2007 that immediately after 9/11, he was told that a coup was being plotted by Dick Cheney, Vice President then, Don Rumsfeld, Defense Secretary, Paul Wolfowitz, Defense Secretary Deputy, and what he called a half a dozen other collaborators from the Project for the New American Century that included an invasion of Iraq. 6 weeks later, he said, he was back with the guy, and he saw the same officer, and he said, "Why haven't we attacked Iraq? Are we still going to attack Iraq?" And this officer said to him, this is again, you know, after 9/11, 6 weeks, "Sir, it's worse than that." The officer pulled up a piece of paper off his desk and said, "I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran." And Clark said the aim of the plot was they wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down and make it under our control. And that is the agenda that's been followed, and all these excuses to pick off country over country are just that, bloody excuses. And of course, One of the things they want is to get to the China and Russian border. They want a Third World War with China and Russia. It's been in their documents for ages. And so what we're seeing are these people going through the Middle East using different excuses to pick off their target countries. You know, oh, America stands for freedom. We want to protect Brazilians. We only care about peace. Ah, only kidding, only kidding. She's Hillary speaking. No, I just love it. Ooh, yes, I love it. Syria next, kill them. Oh, I love it. There you are, that's bloody NATO. There you go, I like that. So we look at Iran. We look at Iran, and this is how many wars they have instigated or fought since the Second World War. Actually, that's how many they've instigated for about 200 bloody years. This is how many the USA has fought with Britain in tag most of the bloody time since the Second World War. These are American bases around Iran. Who's threatening who, one wonders? Iranians are just the same as you and me. People that just want to get on with their lives and their families and all the rest of it. But let's demonize them. Let's demonize them and let's bomb them. Why? We have no heart. We love death. These bloody pillocks doing all this stuff. Violent extremists. Yeah, look in the bloody mirror. Look at them. Talk about inversion. The bloody terrorists fighting terrorism. I love it. War is peace, slavery is freedom, ignorance is strength. What is that? Archontic inversion. It's all a bloody movie that we're coming through, and it's all leading up to World War III. I'm not going to go into this in bloody detail because of time, but Rothschild Zionism, which is actually not about Jewish people, it's about a secret society created and instigated and controlled by the Rothschilds, that the Jewish people have used as a bloody front to cover the real thing about Rothschild Zionism, which is a bloody secret society and part of the cabal. But the Rothschilds, you know, named after Saturn and all this stuff, they built the Knesset, they built the Supreme Court building, and what they do is that anyone that challenges the Rothschilds and Rothschild Zionism and its agenda, they are called anti-Semitic and all this stuff. As this lady says, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, and even bloody Orthodox Jewish rabbis in America are Christian bloody Zionists, believe in bloody Armageddon. And you get Orthodox Jews that absolutely oppose Zionism. This is the dynamic between a country of 300+ million and one of less than 8 million. Why? Because the Rothschilds are the controllers of Israel and they're controllers of the USA, and they're different hands on the same bloody body. And it's all this money that's handed by America to Israel. It ain't going to the rank and file Israelis. This is 400,000 people on the streets of Israel last year because of their economic situation. 2 people at least have set fire to themselves in bloody protest. And what we bloody need so much is for the people of Israel who are being suppressed by their bloody hierarchy come together in common cause with Palestinians and Americans and British and Australians and Africans who are being suppressed by their hierarchy. And realise that all those hierarchies are the same frickin' hierarchy. Let's come together. It's their worst bloody nightmare. This is why America and Israel work as one unit. They're both controlled by the same bloody lot. This is why he won't say a word, or any other president, when this mayhem and slaughter is going on. What's happening in Palestine is frickin' genocide. No other word for it. Genocide, the systematic and widespread extermination or attempted extermination of an entire national, racial, religious or ethnic group. This is Rothschild Zionism, this is Rothschild Zionism, so is bloody this. All the time, Palestinian homes, often for generations, bulldozed to make way for these bloody fanatics and these bloody crazies in the military and government And again, we're watching it happen again. The bloody Zion, bloody Olympics, new bloody Jerusalem, Zion. This is not even about Jewish people and the benefits. They were hung out to dry in bloody Germany. They'll be hung out to dry again whenever it suits these people. That's the bloody thing. The elephant in the living room. And people are terrified of talking about it because all the Anti-Defamation League and these Rothschild fronts jump on you. Anti-Semite, racist. They've tried it with me. But when you're saying when we're all infinite awareness, having an experience, and the genetic spacesuit is fucking irrelevant, well, it's very difficult to make it stick. And even if it does, I don't bloody give a shit. So, we have this, and we have this, and yet we must be scared of Iran. Personally, I think it's more likely we should be scared of America and Britain, myself. Rothschild Zionism want to take us, the Rothschilds want to take us into the Third World War. I've been saying this for years. And of course, Armageddon is supposed to come out of the Middle East. Third World War, it's all about death. These were invariant, all of them were Rothschild Zionists in the Project for the New American Century that orchestrated all this country after country takeover. But this guy, Albert Pike, was a high Freemason in America. And he wrote a letter, it said, someone say it's a forgery, or a fake. Well, my God, I tell you what, these fakes and forgeries don't often tell a bloody tale with the hindsight of history. That's actually turned out to be true. Albert Pike, letter to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871, he talked about 3 world wars coming, so that and each one would go towards eventually taking over the world. And he talked about the First World War and the Second World War, and how the Second World War would create a homeland for what he called political Zionism. And then he said this about the Third World War. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati, the network, the bloodlines, between the political Zionists, Israel in other words, and leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, because they knew that was coming even then, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, note that, mutually destroy each other. Are you listening, people of Israel? Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral and spiritual and economical exhaustion. And then he was pointing out that then they would move in and say, we can save everything, but you have to do what we say, and they have to do it the way we say it. And if it becomes a nuclear war, then changing the atmosphere is another bonus.
Evet, çok önemli açıklamalar. Üçüncü Dünya Savaşı ile ilgili finans imparatorlarının